Not only was my mother very empowered and has always made her own decisions, she was earning her own money from the age of 13. She was working in films, which definitely at that point was like
Taboo.
Good girls didn't work as actors in films. And she chose to get married to someone from another religion because her heart told her to do that. And her whole life she was asked, how is your husband allowing you to work after marriage? How is your husband allowing you to work? And she was like, what do you mean allowing?
I remember my father is the person who took me to the first party I went to. He made me drink whiskey for the first time. I hated it. I said, what is this? He said, "Nahi, you'll sit with me and taste it. Meri beti mere saath taste karegi."
I feel like there's a lot in me that has not been utilized. You know, I feel like I've done a bunch of work, but I feel like there's still so much more, and I just feel like I haven't had the opportunities that I feel I could thrive in.
First, it was a fight to get into the industry. Then we got into it. We were newcomers, we were outsiders, and I'll take all of those tags because, hey, I lived it, so to call.
But it never hurt you.
Yeah, it did. It hurt me even more when I was not part of my own sequel also, which when every other actor was the same except the girl, which I felt was not cool enough, guys.
I may not have enjoyed Nadaaniyan so much as an audience, but the kind of trolling that happened with somebody's body, somebody's face.
If you're going to be on social media, if you're going to open an Instagram account, certainly if you're going to be an actor, if you're going to display your work in any form, you need to be able to digest people's opinions, or then don't read the comments.
Yeah, there was a review that was done on me on a certain film. I don't know the film now, and I don't know who reviewed it. But I remember what that person wrote. And they wrote, oh my God, the one thing we cannot get over is Nushrat's heels in this film. I'm very happy working without heels. You think I want to deal with this pain every day? Not interested. But if my co-actor is 6 feet, and if you put a block, and it's technical, I will not come in the block, bro. For me to be in the block of a 2-shot, I need to be at a certain height.
I've had loss in my family. We've been through stressful situations, as everybody does. Even with my father's passing, we had enough time with him, and we got time to say goodbye, etc. With my mother, you know, she was one of the very few people to be diagnosed with lung cancer at stage 0. With my brother, a horrifically violent incident that could have gone very badly. 2 millimeters here and he would have been paralyzed below the waist.
As a godparent to my 13-year-old niece, do I feel that the society is as safe for women today? Actually, even for men? I don't think so. It's a conversation that has been in news and everybody's talking about it on the table today. But I think when Chhori released, it was already a conversation that needed to happen. And today I have 2 formidable female forces, Soha Ali Khan and Nushrat Bharuccha, joining me with a man who believes in the force of women, Vishal Furia, only on Nayansense. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. I think that was a lovely introduction.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that you said that.
Thank you. I mean it. That's why before the interview I said that I don't want to do it as an interview. There's so much more that you take away from a movie like Chhori, right? And as a man, as a woman, as a child, as a boy or a girl, there's something that you will understand. I know that it's an A-rated film, but I hope that most boys and girls, especially teenage boys and girls, get to watch it because it's something. अगर आप अंदर जाओगे, लोग बोलते हैं कि बहुत अंदर चले जाओ, rural areas में ये होता है, but I'm telling you of educated families where it happens. When my niece was born, one of my relatives was upset that it was not a boy and a son, and my entire family has fought it. I think we are very educated, but it is crazy. It is. How do you see the situation changing? Do you feel that movies like this can actually change the situation, or there's a movement there?
I think movies are really effective, especially in India, because we watch a lot of cinema, we consume a lot of cinema, and it has an impact on our brains. You know, whether we like it or not, if there's a social message to it. I've seen that in Rang De Basanti. You know? I've seen, and it's not that when people said, oh, in Rang De, there's a violent message, and what if a son kills its father, or what if, you know, you're inciting people to kill the defense minister? That was not the message that people got. We saw people replicating images from the movie after the Jessica Lal murder, and they took to the streets in exactly the same way during a candlelight vigil. So I have a lot of faith in the audience. I think that cinema can be profoundly moving and can be a mirror to society as well as an agent for change. when used responsibly. What I love about Chhori 2 is, number one, it is an effective horror.
Yeah.
It is an entertaining and disturbing horror film. And somewhere you realize that the evils that are being shown to you, that are being perpetrated on screen, do actually take place.
Absolutely. It's the reality.
And when that hits, I think that it's very effective, and it may hit, that week, it may hit you a week later, it may hit you when you hear about stories taking place like this in the newspaper, we read about it.
It's so disturbing, but actually those disturbing things are happening. We cannot really shy away from it, right? Did the concept stem from that?
Yeah, absolutely, because it didn't start from there. It started with me wanting to make a career in films, and what would be my first film, and because I love the genre of horror, I thought that this is something which I want to tap. And then when I started writing the story, this organically came into it.
Yeah.
And then I thought this is elevating the horror and taking it to a different space, and it's giving it a higher purpose, right? So and then when I read the statistics about female infanticide, the statistics were horrifying, right?
Yeah.
And that is what gave birth to the first film, which was Lapa Chhapi,
Yes.
the Marathi film.
Yes.
When you asked that would parents want to have their child watch the film, believe it or not, when Lapa Chhapi released in the theatres, because that time OTT was very early stage and Marathi films were not on OTT yet. In theatres, I have seen mothers fight with the theatre managers to let their kids watch the film.
Exactly.
Even though it was an A-rated film, they have fought and they have made their sons and daughters watch the film. I've seen it with my own eyes, and not just 1-2 cases, many cases, right? So when I think somewhere these women related to that story, and which is why they wanted their sons and daughters to watch it and understand why this story is being told. So that happened, and which is why it led to the Hindi version, because that remained restricted to a certain state, and I thought that the story needs to be told at least nationally, if not globally. Thankfully, it also went globally because of the platform.
Reactions, oh my god, have you read the comments on the trailer?
Not
Yeah.
yet.
You should.
We've been doing interviews.
You should. I will tell you.
Tell us.
But
I'll tell you.
we are in a country where दो चीजें चलती है, Bollywood और cricket.
Yes.
And growing up, I have seen people be so impressionable and adapt so many things from films, like hairstyles of actors or clothing styles or dance steps. So agar toxicity also. I feel cinema has a great power to influence at least a large section of our country. And if we are doing it to entertain them, then why not say something slightly more meaningful that can impact them, their lives, that can bring us a thought in their mind. मतलब मेरा ये कहना है, प्रवचन करने नहीं आए हैं हम. हम आपको ये नहीं कहने आ रहे कि यही सही है और यही गलत है, यही करो या यही मत करो. हम आपसे कहने आए हैं, अगर आपको कोई कह रहा है ये ऐसे होता है, आप ये सवाल क्यों नहीं पूछ सकते हो, बट ऐसा क्यों नहीं हो सकता? It's just thought provoking. Why don't you question the system, question the culture, question a certain practice that has been going on for years? Just question it.
Yeah.
If you get an answer convincingly enough for you to do what you do, then it's your karma, you do what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
If things are banned and if people catch you and they put you behind bars, great. But if you are not even going to question it, I think
जैसे कि हम करते आ
रहे हैं, वो वाला thought नहीं होना चाहिए. तो हमारे पास अगर वो tool है, वो power है to say stories that impact audiences, तो करते हैं ना.
India is considered to be a highly patriarchal setup or a society, right? But I'm a Bengali. And honestly speaking, like if you go to any Bengali household, and I'm not saying because I'm a Bengali and I'm proud, of course I am. But I have seen most Bengali mothers, like there is a sense of matriarchy. हम लोग काली माँ और दुर्गा माँ को पूछते हैं, ठीक है? दुनिया में ऐसी हो जाती है. एक मूवी थी दिल बोले हरिप्पा, शायद नहीं चली, बट एक लाइन बहुत फेमस है, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है. there's a procession and she's asked to get out of the line and there's a procession of Devi happening. like आप जिसको मूर्ति बना के पूजते हो, उसी को औरत बना के कुचलते हो. That is something that is also what you try to show in your movie, right? When I'm saying about matriarchy, I feel that do you like, if you look at your mothers, our mothers, they have been conditioned to behave a certain way, because उनको बोला गया है कि यही right है, यही नहीं है. But they have also done so much to raise us as individuals, where we have a strong force of mind. if you go back when we were all kids and look at the kind of freedom that your mothers gave, what were the
Exactly.
things that you questioned, because, and what were the things that you were given allowance to, to become the individual that you are today?
I just wanted to say quickly that I'm very fortunate to have had my parents as my parents, because not only was my mother very empowered and has always made her own decisions. She was earning her own money from the age of 13. She was working in films, which definitely at that point was like
taboo.
Good girls didn't work as actors in films. And she chose to get married to someone from another religion because her heart told her to do that. And her whole life she was asked, how is your husband allowing you to work after marriage? How is your husband allowing you to work? And she was like, what do you mean allowing? And my father was so liberal in his thinking. I really think that he broke the mold, and I was that house where whenever the girls wanted to go out or go to a club, everyone would come and stay the night at my house. Because we had rules. It's not like my parents weren't strict. We knew what the boundaries were and we had rules. And I think it is important to have rules and consequences in a house.
But restrictions were not
But there was also dialogue.
Yes.
I was not scared of my parents. I was allowed to converse with them and ask them why. And they would actually explain to me, कि हम ऐसा कर रहे हैं क्योंकि this is why. And that's why today when I parent my child, I talk to her and reason with her and say, this is why we're doing this. This is why you should be eating. This is why sugar is bad. This is why you shouldn't watch TV before bedtime. This is why you need to go to sleep at 8 o'clock, etc., etc. So it's a dialogue.
Absolutely.
I think my parents, I owe it to them completely. My dad and my mom both. I remember my father is the person who took me to the first party I went to. He made me drink whiskey for the first time. I hated it. I said, what is this? He said, "Nahi, you'll sit with me and taste it. Meri beti mere saath taste karegi." Jo unreal tha us waqt, from the world that I came in. My mom has been one person who has said, my daughter will do whatever she wants. I will not stop her from doing what she wants to do. उसको दोस्तों के साथ जाना है वो जाएगी, उसको फ़ोन पे बात करनी है वो करेगी, उसको पढ़ाई करनी है वो पढ़ाई करेगी. मतलब there is no, ऐसा नहीं कि छूट दे रखी है, बट वो जो चीज़ें थी ना कि नहीं लड़की ये नहीं करती है, लड़की को ये नहीं करना चाहिए, कि वो नहीं था मेरे घर में. So I think from a very young age, my mind was open. I was able to be who I wanted to be. They never questioned me on any beliefs, of any norms, of anything that I wanted to discover on my own. And that just allowed me to be my own person. Today, if I formed any opinion of something, it's because they didn't force an opinion on me. They let my mind make it for myself.
Absolutely.
Which I think is so freeing, is so liberal, because I have now decided the pro and con and picked something. Not blindly just followed what has been happening. So
I've done an interview with you and your mom, so I know that, because when you come from that kind of a progressive setup where the thinking is not limited, because I also come from that. My mother always wanted a girl child. Unfortunately, she has 2 boys. That's why my maternal cousin is her favorite, and we always say this. And my niece is also her daughter, but she's my child too. And the point is that I feel that when you have that kind of a setup, my mother was also the first one to question and confront that relative, that no, don't say that, because we want a girl child. And we've always been saying that when she was pregnant, because a lot of people only come and say ki ladka hoga, it does take a toll on you. You somehow feel like, my sister has said this to me, that at one point after the delivery, because that person was really close, like the relative was very close to her, she felt like, did I fail? And that's the most hurtful thing that one can say, right? And this happens. You come from a space, if you had not had this conditioning, you couldn't have made a movie like this. Because you need to respect women to make a movie like this.
I believe that, not believe, but my experience and my, even in my family, I have seen the patriarchal system affect men as well.
Yeah.
Right.
My
father, who is a very humble, modest person, I have seen him under immense pressure to always be successful in life, which unfortunately he was not, because he was somebody who was brought up in a certain way where he was very good in the household work, not so much in the outside world. But the pressure was always that you have to be successful, right? So I've seen that in my house and him crumbling, right? And my mother being the strong force and balancing it out. So I have been brought up like that, and we see that pressure today also, right? Men are supposed to be the alpha male. It is only growing by the day, right? Which I feel it's stupid, right? like how you were speaking some time back, I'm okay to cry, you know, why should I not cry, right? It's okay to cry. So I think that is where it stems from.
I am so trolled for being a little effeminate.
Yeah.
There was a point it used to affect me, but my mother told me that it's true, now you are like me. So just tell them that I'm like my mother, so it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And it's strange. I feel like, you know, sometimes people don't even target you for sexuality. They just feel that women are weaker.
Right.
Yeah.
Feminine energy is weaker.
Is weaker.
A girl who wears androgynous clothes, I'm sorry I'm saying this, will not be targeted as much. They will be targeted for being different, but they will not be targeted as much as a man who's a little girly in our society, because women still, you know, can be okay with another person being a little different, but men want everybody in their circle to behave a certain way, do a certain. Do you agree or
No,
not?
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's okay for women to wear men's clothes, but it's
Yeah.
not okay for a man to wear women's clothes.
Yeah.
That's strange. Why would a man want to wear a skirt or a salwar kameez or a
Yeah.
sari, but a woman can wear like anything that a man
Yeah.
wears? So it's just a conditioning over generation that takes a lot of time for people to change that way of thinking. Now, you know, there's a lot of talk about what it means to be woke and what it means to have like different identities. There's a conversation that is happening,
True.
which is also working its way into cinema. Sometimes that conversation gets a little out there also, but I feel like there is now different ways of thinking and approaching, and I'm all for talking and conversing and having a range of opinions.
Now I'm going to tell you something. My friend Jammy Pants, who's
Okay.
Anmol Jambal, he's a reviewer and he's very famous, tried and refused. He's a very good friend and I agree with his
I have-
opinions.
Yeah,
I've read his tweets.
Yeah, I was.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you?
What?
So
What?
he said,
somebody took a screenshot, because we're in the middle of all
Yeah.
of this, of his tweet and sent it to me. And I made you read it at lunch. It's
Oh, yeah.
that one.
I totally agree with it. Do you feel as an artist that he wrote
Can you say out
that,
loud?
Yeah, he wrote something to the tune of, I'm just not by word, but
That's
I know the
fine.
meaning
Yeah,
of it. He said that I want to watch Nushrat in more such roles.
Yeah.
Despite being an actor of her caliber, she's not been given those opportunities. It is shocking, because at this time when we are craving for good films, we are saying movies achhi nahi ban rahi hai. Why are we not giving artists like her more roles like this? Do you? Because you have also been praised so much. You come from a film legacy, but you've never been part of that conversation. Ki
Yeah.
why is she here? You know, that conversation has not happened with you also. Do you feel like you have been deprived of such roles? Let's be very honest. Be honest.
I feel like there's a lot in me that has not been utilized. You know, I feel like I've done a bunch of work, but I feel like there's still so much more, and I just feel like I haven't had the opportunities that I feel I could thrive in. But having said that, I don't dwell on it very much, because I'm not the kind of person to dwell. I usually, if I'm not doing something, I'm doing something else.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking about it that much. And
But that's because you're not an overthinker.
yeah, I'm not an overthinker. I'm not an overthinker. But I'm very, very happy that I got an opportunity to do Chhori 2.
Absolutely. I loved the trailer. Loved the trailer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I genuinely I loved Chhori, and I know that Chhori 2 is going to be outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, yaar, it's a fight. Let me be honest. It's been a fight. First, it was a fight to get into the industry. Then we got into it. We were newcomers. We were outsiders. And I'll take all of those tags because, hey, I lived it, okay? I experienced it. I lived it. I'm going to say what it is. I'm not going to be कि नहीं सब ठीक था नहीं था भाई बहुत मुश्किल था ठीक है but हमने किया हमारी first film चली जब किसी ने नहीं सोचा था चलेगी फिर second हमने की वो चली फिर मतलब we kept doing our own work on the side and I'm going to proudly say that during those days and during that time I wasn't chasing things. I wasn't chasing the projects, so to call, or the people, so to call.
But it never hurt you.
Yeah, it did. It hurt me even more when I was not part of my own sequel also, which when every other actor was the same except the girl, which I felt was not cool, na guys. Just
Absolutely.
just not cool. But theek hai, no problem.
But did you fight it?
No, Nayan. And I'll be honest with you. I can't fight something I know is not going to change in any way, where I know there is no, what do I fight? What am I going to say? Why not me? Okay, they'll say because we don't want you. That's the truth of it. It ends there. Eventually, it's a choice somebody is making, right? I cannot question your choice.
Yeah.
It's the choice you're making, you make it. I think the fight I can fight is by not giving up myself, is by saying it's okay, I'll do work with people who want to work with me.
Yeah.
I'll work with people who appreciate my presence on set, who appreciate the fact that I'm going to breathe life into this character and do justice to their stories and their writing, and I value that. I value, and I've said this before, I would rather work with somebody who's who wants to work with me and might not have that kind of how do I say it, setup,
Yeah.
because that's our
Positioning.
that's positioning or setup or name. But if you want to work with me, then you've got me excited, you've got me valuing you, and it feels like, hey, you think you want to do this with me, you think I can do this, great, let's chat about it.
Yeah.
That's my hook. That's the way I fight it back here. I don't दीवार में सर मर के क्या होने वाला है, सिर टूटेगा अपना, कोई बात नहीं, कहीं और दरवाजा बना लो, अपनी खिड़की बना लो, वहां से एक स्टेप आगे पीछे कर लो, अंदर बाहर करो.
But I hope things change for you, because you deserve much more than what you have already got, and I'm saying this as an audience. Forget anything, okay? I don't review films because I feel like I only think as an audience. आजकल तो reviews भी biased है भैया, हम तो खुद बोलते हैं कि अपने लोग होते हैं तो मैं biased हूँ, इसमें क्या बड़ी बात है? But आजकल तो reviews भी biased. Honestly speaking, coming to that, I'll because I spoke about reviews, I recently put out a post. I may not have enjoyed Nadaaniyan so much as an audience, but the kind of trolling that happened with somebody's body, somebody's face, somebody's this, and you know, I call it trolling because the same person, I call it publicity stunt because that person has tagged like media houses with every story. So I was like, you don't cover me. I was telling my media folks that criticize the movie, don't cover somebody who's already seeking publicity because you're giving them what they need. Right. As a person who's from the family, how do you see this? Like somebody who has to deal with this. It's okay if the performance is not good, but to go into that details and you know, completely like dissecting somebody and hitting somebody like that.
I mean, number one, I think that you need to have thick skin when you join this world. Forget if you're an actor. If you're going to be on social media, if you're going to open an Instagram account, certainly if you're going to be an actor, if you're going to display your work in any form, you need to be able to digest people's opinions, or then don't read the comments. But I feel like sometimes it's important to read the comments because, you know, you can't just work in a vacuum. You have to be receptive to certain criticism and you have to work on your craft and go forward. Having said that, I feel like there's a lot of hate in the world. There's a lot of people that feel, I think, maybe unhappy, or they feel like if somebody, like it's your success is determined by someone else's failure. You know, it's strange. And we all enjoy gossiping and bringing people down and denigrating people. There's a lot of negativity that happens in general. And I feel like actors become easy targets, certainly, because we put ourselves out there. But I feel it's also part, now I feel like, as Nushrat said, this is a big battle. How are you going to fight this?
Yeah.
You know, so I think the only thing that you can do is have some kind of armor and not shut yourself out to the world, not surround yourself only with love and people who are going to say positive things and be like yes men. Yeah. Be open to criticism.
Absolutely.
Introspect, self-criticize, work on your craft, but also have thick skin and don't let someone's opinion bring you down. Don't let your film's one project's success or failure, perhaps destroy you in ways, but also recognize where you need to work on something and work on your craft and become better.
Absolutely. You know, I want to ask you this, that there's also an inherent amount of sexism in terms of looks and appearance and everything. There are many actors, let's be honest about it, that they do wear those invisible heels to be taller.
They wear very visible.
Taller
Best
than,
thing about working with Nushrat?
No heels. Lesser heels.
but you've always been proud of that. Yeah. But do you feel that there's incessant amount of trolling also because you're a woman, and if you wear heels then it becomes a conversation, but there are also the same people know that there are men also doing the same?
Yeah, there was a review that was done on me on a certain film. I don't know the film now and I don't know who reviewed it, but I remember what that person wrote, and they wrote, oh my god, the one thing we cannot get over is Nushrat's heels in this film. I said okay. उसके बाद सर छोरी आई, मैंने कहा ले जूते ही नहीं पहने मैंने. खुश अब बता, मतलब I can't believe it. This is the screen, that's me, there's a lot of happening and you're looking down there on my shoes. ठीक है तो खत्म हो गए, point ही गया. So I feel like, how do I explain practicality to them? I'm very happy working without heels. You think I want to deal with this pain every day?
Yeah.
Not interested. But if my co-actor is 6 feet and if you put a block and it's technical, I will not come in the block, bro. For me to be in the block of a 2 shot, I need to be at a certain height. अभी हर shot में आप पाटले नहीं लगा सकते हो because technically you can't shoot like that.
Yeah.
So you need to be on heels to match up with that 2 shot. Either that or you become international and you shoot a film like Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Absolutely.
Where the hero is 6'4" and the girl is really that short, and when you put a 2 shot, you actually don't see her. You only see him. करो ऐसे shooting. मैं खुश हूँ. मैं क्यों अपने आप को दुख दूँ? But when I come on a set and when a DOP or a director or technically people tell me यार frame block work नहीं करा, मैंने कहा सर है मेरे पास heels. I'm actually aiding a faster shooting process by putting myself through pain, guys. And it's not fun. My feet are swollen. Most of the times I have knee problem, ankle problem, this problem, back problem. And I'm going back and healing myself from all those pains and aches, going back on set for 13, 14 hours, 15 hours, wearing those heels, dancing in 6-inch heels for 16 hours for 4 days straight. Just so that we can shoot it in that time and we can shoot it right.
Absolutely.
तो ये तो कोई जानता
And people should talk about the performance. Why talk about such
totally
ridiculous
agree.
things?
But who's talking
as
about it?
heels
You tell
and-
me. to do
Exactly.
these things. The reason I wanted, like, I moved out of journalism and started my own as a creator is because of that. Because if I'm in that space, I have Reddit posts because I'm nice to people. Okay. But Reddit and other places are also celebrating those who are negatively biased. If they don't like you, no matter what you do, they'll write hate posts, and that's celebration. But I'm okay with it. So I'm a creator. I'm my own person. I'm my own channel. I do whatever I want to. Nobody says anything to me. That's why I said it's an interview. It's a conversation. Recently, I was in Kolkata. I came back yesterday night at 2 o'clock. I met Ritudi. And your mother has done a movie called Puraton, and my mother and I went to watch the trailer. Please watch the movie.
Yeah.
It is also out on the 11th April, right? But it's out in Bengal in theatres.
Okay.
And it's
What's
releasing
the
on
name of the
competition.
film? What's the name of the film?
It's called
Puraton.
Puraton.
The
Yes,
ancient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And
So she's suffering from Alzheimer's, and she's
Okay.
playing the mother to Ritudi.
And they're celebrating her 80th birthday, and she is 80.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they've really gone in depth, like HD into every wrinkle and every.
Oh, wow.
And she's gone like, I mean, she's not wearing any makeup, and she just looks resplendent. Like she's just.
Yeah,
so
and if
lovely.
you see the trailer, it's like
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Sharmila Tagore for us is an emotion.
Yeah.
She has made all of us proud.
Yeah.
And the reason why I said it is because in an interview on Coffee with Karan, she said that today I feel so much more liberating because women are getting to play parts. Pehle, even her bikini shoot was discussed and like completely
it's still
like
discussed today.
Yeah, but she's paved the way for women to accept modernity, which that point was termed vulgar. And she said that I feel, and she's played a queer character right now, and she's like, today, if you look at the kind of, as women, do you agree with that, with what your mom said?
With what?
With the fact that today women are getting more agency in different roles.
Absolutely. Like I'm saying that earlier in her time, you were the heroine or you were the heroine's mother. And in the middle, you didn't know what to do. And she always was like she liked to do new things. Even in Aradhana, she played,
Yes.
you know, she played Rajesh Khanna's mother.
Yeah.
You know, and she had grey hair and like a bunch of makeup, even though she was only 26 or something at the time. So she's always done what she wanted to do. At the height of her career, she chose to get married to my father, and everyone said this is like professional harakiri and it's like professional suicide. How can you do this? And she said, I don't care, I'm doing this. And you know,
she kept
till then,
working.
she kept working, and now at the age of 80, she has a film released in theaters.
Wow, yeah.
You know, now, and it's fantastic. She continues to work hard and has empowered her children, including me, constantly. And has always allowed me to make my own mistakes. You know, I've always felt that, you know, even in relationships when she's been like, you know, like a lot of parents be like, I'm not sure if this is the right boy for you. But she has certainly expressed in a subtle way her disapproval. Her disapproval is always clear. But she's never said, don't do this, or I don't think you should do this. She's allowed me to get there. And I've got there on my own, which is why I have self-confidence, which is why I am making my decisions and I feel like I am making the right choices.
Bangali ma.
Yeah.
My mother too.
So sweet.
But your question was...
My mother, actually a lot of...
That was her
no,
question,
my
huh?
question was to both of you that
Sharmila Tagore is lovely.
as a female actor, do you feel that there's more agency? Sharmila ji said that today, in today's times, if she was like in her prime, she would feel so much happier to do the kind of roles that women are getting to.
No, I agree. I think I'll take a name of an actor who very recently has at least given me hope. Is Neena Gupta.
Oh my God, love her, Neena ji.
It's unreal that in Badhai Do, she suddenly has become that, and audiences have loved her for that, and parts are being written for her.
Yeah.
And I believe she tweeted at some point that I don't
have work.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that happened to somebody as talented as that and as senior as that, having a career so colorful, and she had to do that, and then she has that. It's just, I'm like, you know what, it gives me a lot of hope and faith that I don't have to worry about it. My only wish when I came into this industry, and I've said this from my first interviews, if you ever pick it up, is I just want to act till the day I cease to exist. I hope people just give me parts and give me something to do. I want longevity.
Yeah.
You know,
Longevity.
Longevity.
Yeah.
I don't want.
I don't want you getting trolled.
Please, yeah. So do that. I don't want like a peak and a high to just live on, because a high is going to come into a low.
Yes.
You're going to have to live both.
Absolutely.
I just want a longer life as an actor and as a performer. That's honestly my only wish.
You know, I have to ask you this, that Chhori also deals with the fear of loss, right? It's so disturbing that you feel like you could lose somebody. There have been two instances that I know of. One is when your mother was battling cancer, and now, of course, the attack on your brother. They are very deeply disturbing to anybody who's family.
Yeah.
How do you deal with such situations?
Very
what was the
badly.
thing?
You're asking me, I deal with it very badly.
Yeah, I know that you are the more paranoid one, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I'm actually the least paranoid
Really?
one in the family. Yeah.
So, but how?
I mean, I have seen, I've had loss in my family. We've been through stressful
Yes,
situations,
your
as
father.
everybody does. And I think, as I said time and time again, when you become a parent, you never have a peaceful night's sleep ever again in the way that you slept before. But you know, I've also been blessed. I feel like even with my father's passing, we had enough time with him. You know, it was an illness that he dealt with and happened very quickly, but we still had 3 weeks with him. And we got time to say goodbye, etc. With my mother, you know, she was one of the very few people to be diagnosed with lung cancer at stage 0, you know, and no chemotherapy, nothing. It was cut out of her, and she's, touch wood, fine. And with my brother, a horrifically violent incident that could have gone very badly. It was bad, but most miraculous turnout was that even though he was so severely injured, it missed every important thing. You know, 2 millimeters here and he would have been paralyzed below the waist. So we're talking about that as being blessed. If you look at it in that way, you're also blessed. Because everybody has ups and downs in their lives. My father lost his eye at the age of 20. His whole career, he played with one eye. And if he'd sat and thought, oh, if I had 2 eyes, I would have been the best cricketer, the best batsman ever, then he'd just be wallowing. He never did wallow. You know, he lost his father at the age of 11. On his 11th birthday, he lost his father. So ups and downs happen. I think it's how the resilience with which you approach it, the positivity with which you deal with it, makes you stronger, and you just be grateful. You become, I think, when you deal with issues like that, you become very, very grateful for what you have in your life.
Absolutely. But as a parent today, safety of kids, especially because social media, and it compromises especially the safety of kids who come from like who have public figures as parents or relatives. How do you deal with that then? Because no matter how much you tell, or Kareena says, or Alia says, or anybody says that don't cover, eventually कोई ना कोई एक करेगा तो बाकी 30 लोग करना चालू कर देंगे. ये unfortunate है. So how do you deal with such situations?
You know, the challenge is to let your child have what you want. You want your child to have the most normal existence possible. You want to not overprotect them, but you also want to protect them. It can be quite difficult. I think that our relationship with the media has always been very, very positive. They've been very respectful towards any demands that we've had of them, any requests that we've had of them not to photograph the children. It's always been great. It continues to be like that with that today. The concern is with any child now, because everyone is a social media star, everyone is on Instagram, every child and where they are at any time is out there. So it is a security concern as well. So I think we just need to be a little vigilant. We need to be a little cognizant of the fact that these are young children, they're impressionable children, and they didn't sign up to be actors or in the limelight. You know, we might have, but they become accidentally caught up in this, and just there have to be some boundaries.
I just want to tell you all that Chhori had moved me in a very different way. It had disturbed me, of course, and my niece was really young. So, and she's the only child I have technically, and I'll hold her very close to my heart. I will protect her with all my might. I'm also the one who's spoiling her, but I'm also the one who's constantly schooling her, even if I'm miles away. She's my best friend today. When I go to Calcutta, we are like, she's at my place no matter what happens. Chhori 2, I know, is going to be a step ahead of that. It deals with a topic that needs to have conversations, and I hope once I watch the movie, we sit back and genuinely have a conversation on safety, which is what women want, not protection. So thank you so much for this wonderful chat, and all the best for Chhori.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.